Good afternoon, Budapest. Before we begin this very important conversation, I'd like to ask everyone in the audience to please rise for a brief moment of silence in memory of the two Israeli diplomats that were brutally murdered in Washington, D.C. last week, Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky. Thank you. May their memories be a blessing, and may we never, ever become numb to the evil forces in this world. Thank you again. So listen, it is an absolute honor to be back here in Budapest for CPAC Hungary. Today, we stand at the crossroads between sovereignty and globalism. And this conversation with my dear friend Yair Netanyahu could not be more urgent than it is today. As nation states, we face unprecedented internal and external threats, and we gather here as patriots to affirm that national identity, regional security, moral clarity still matter. So let's jump right into the Q&A with our special guest here today. Yair, why do you believe that Israel's war is not just a regional conflict, but the frontline battle of Western civilization against barbarism? You know, you have the so-called Free Palestine movement has become a vehicle for this Red-Green Alliance, Islamists, radical Marxists, who seek to destroy the West from within. If Israel falls, what is going to stand in the way for Europe and America being next?
Thank you, Brian. I want to just say first that such a pleasure to be here in CPAC and in Hungary and in Budapest. I almost feel like at home when I'm in Budapest and in Hungary. I've been here so many times, and every time I enjoy the city and the people so much. Thank you. And really, as a conservative, as an Israeli, and as a Jewish person, there isn't almost anywhere in the world that I feel as safe and welcome as I am in Hungary and in Budapest. And I want to thank to the Hungarian people and Prime Minister Orban for the steadfast support to Israel and the great alliance we have between our countries. And we are deeply appreciative for the support of Hungary to Israel. So thank you for that. Following up your question, Brian, it's important to understand that the riots and the so-called protests of the pro-Palestinian title that we see in the West, that we see in Western Europe, that we see in North America, it's not really about Israel and it's not really about the Palestinians. The Palestinian flag is the new version, updated version of the hammer and sickle communist red flag. It's the symbol of the desire to destroy the Western civilization as we know it. And Israel is the beginning, but it's definitely not the end. They call the Islamists in the Middle East, call Israel the small Satan, America the big Satan, and Europe is the middle-sized Satan, yeah, somewhere in between. Geographically, though, it's closer to the Muslim world. And there is this phenomena of this red-green alliance. If you're not aware of this term, red is the color of Marxists, and the updated version of Marxism, which is woke, progressive, all of that stuff. And green is the color of Islamists. So both of these ideologies want to destroy the Western civilization, the Judeo-Christian culture that we all are a part of. They have different reasons why they want to destroy it. The Marxists want to destroy the Western civilization in order to build this utopian Marxist society that can only take place after the current society is destroyed. The Islamists want to have a Sharia Islamic world, but they have the same goal, which is the destruction of Western civilization. And Israel is just the first target because they think it's the easiest because we are the smallest. And in their plan, once they're done with Israel, they're going to come after Europe, and they're going to come after America. And the Islamist protests in the Middle East, they chant, after Saturday comes Sunday. First we take care of the Jews, then we're going to take care of the Christians. And you see in the protests, the pro-Palestinian protests, the pro-Israeli protests, for example, in America, they wave the American flag. They sing the American national anthem at the end of the rally. In Britain, they are waving the Union Jack and they sing God Save the King. But in the pro-Palestinian protests in the UK, in America, they burn the American flag. They burn the British flag. If it's in Germany, they burn the German flags. They burn the French flag. It's not really about Israel, and it's not really about the Palestinians. It's the desire to destroy Western civilization.
Yeah, you touched on something very important there. First, they come for the Saturday people, i.e. the Jews. Then they come for the Sunday people. So why is, Israel so important to the Christian community, in your opinion? And maybe briefly tell the audience a little bit more, what happened to Bethlehem after the Oslo Accords?
So I guess we all know the importance of Israel to Christianity. Our roots, we have common roots. Jesus was born and raised as a Jew in the province of Judea his whole life, and all of his disciples were Jewish, and St. Paul was Jewish. But besides that, Israel is the only safe haven for Christianity and Christians in the Middle East. Throughout the Middle East, the Christians are being ethnically cleansed and persecuted, and most of them have already fled the region. The only country in the Middle East that Christian population is not declining but is rising is Israel. And this holy city of Bethlehem, where Jesus Christ was born, it's a great example for the importance of Israel as the guardian of Christianity and Christians in the Middle East. Up until the Oslo Accords in 1993, Israel controlled Bethlehem, and the population was 80% Christian, the population of the city, 80% Christian. In 1993, Israel gave the control to the Palestinian Authority, and they immediately started persecuting the Christians in the city. And now, in 2025, the Christian population of Bethlehem is around 10%.
Wow. Shocking. So, yeah, let's talk a little bit about foreign influence. Qatar has poured billions of dollars into American universities, transforming elite institutions into echo chambers, woke campuses that are all anti-Western, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, and anti-Judeo-Christian values. How do you think we allowed this influence to happen from both Iran, Qatar, other bad actors, to take such deep root in the education system in America?
It is a big problem, and a lot of people assume that Qatar is exactly like other Gulf countries like the UAE or Saudi Arabia. It is not. It's a Muslim Brotherhood regime which has been outlawed in most Arab Muslim countries. It's outlawed in Saudi Arabia, it's outlawed in Egypt, it's outlawed in the UAE. The Muslim Brotherhood ideology is the ideology of Hamas, the organization, of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and all these other nice organizations. And they are the chief sponsors of all of these organizations. The headquarters of Hamas is in Qatar, which is the equivalent of Afghanistan hosting bin Laden and Al-Qaeda after 9/11. Qatar is interested in the destruction of Israel, of course, but it's not its final goal. It's interested of submitting all of the West to the Sharia Islamist point of view that they believe in, and this is why they are the biggest funders of European elite universities and American elite universities. They're putting a lot of money into the media, into social media as well, into politics, and they are brainwashing European youth and American youth to hate Western civilization, to hate their countries, to hate their heritage, their Christian heritage, and their national pride, to lose faith in their national pride and patriotism. So it is a big problem, not just for Israel, but for the entire West.
Let's briefly touch on Iran. We all know Iran chants death to America, death to Israel, as you said, big Satan, little Satan. it is relentless in their pursuit of a nuclear weapon. They have been since the regime changed power in 1979. I think we can both agree that it's one of probably the greatest threats, not just facing Israel, not just facing America, but facing the free world as a whole. How do you think we should handle that nuclear threat with Iran? If you could wave a magic wand, what would you do?
So first of all, it's important for Europeans to understand that Iran is not just Israel's problem, it's all of the Western civilization problem. It's a Europe problem, it's American problem. This regime that took control in 1979 after the Islamic Revolution has radical Shia Islamist ideology, which is no different than Al-Qaeda and ISIS and any other terror organization. Yes, they are Shia and they are Sunni, but Hezbollah is a Shia terror organization that they are funding, and the Houthis. And it's like having a terrorist organization holds nuclear weapon. Israel is already way in the range of the existing missiles of Iran that will be able to carry a nuclear weapon. But they are not satisfied with this. They are building long-range missiles, intercontinental missiles that can reach to the eastern coast of the United States and, of course, can cover all of European soil. And when you have a radical Islamist regime holding the world as a hostage for their whim because they have a nuclear power and they threaten a nuclear World War III that will probably be the end of humanity. For every time they're not happy about something, this is something that will not only affect Israel, it will affect the daily lives and the peace of Europe, of America, and of the entire world.
Couldn't agree more. It's such a major threat, and it's been such a major threat for a long time. And I think your father and a lot of the leaders in Israel have done a remarkable job doing what has to be done. So your father should be very proud of what he's done so far.
Thank you. I agree.
So let's close, Yair, with another critical long-term threat, the deep state. We have the deep state in America. We see the deep state in Israel. Israel is fighting on three fronts. You have Hamas, you have Hezbollah, and you also have its own deep state. President Trump imposed sweeping sanctions on the ICC. Prime Minister Orban withdrew Hungary from this jurisdiction when he welcomed your father here in Budapest just recently. And in the United States, we have unelected judges that are attempting to override the will of the people and sideline President Trump. Similar things are happening in Israel against your father. What do you make of these deep state threats to the sovereignty of all of our nations?
So, first of all, I want to thank Prime Minister Orban and President Trump for fighting against the ICC. The ICC is the head of the snake of the globalist deep state network. They're trying to uproot the sovereignty of democracies and Western countries and prevent them to be able to fight terrorism and to protect themselves. It's not just Israel's problems, it's a problem of all democracies facing terrorist threats, which include Europe and America for sure. And President Trump, America is not part of the ICC, but they put sanctions on the ICC, and we're deeply grateful for that. And we're deeply grateful for Prime Minister Orban for withdrawing Hungary from the ICC. It's a courageous move, and it is the right thing to do. And we thank him for that, and to the Hungarian people. There is a trend in all of Western world, which is Europe, Brussels, EU, in America, and in Israel, which is unelected bureaucrats, unelected judicial officials, if they're judges or if they're prosecutor, that they think they know better than the public. They know better than the voters, whether it's the American voter or the European voter or the Israeli voter, and they are trying to establish a regime which is not a real democracy, but it's an oligarchy, a regime of the elite, a regime of unelected, educated, they see themselves educated, enlightened elite that rule the country instead of the people. This is very dangerous. This is a problem that Israel is facing, I think not a lot of people are aware of, but the severity of the deep state problem in Israel, it's even worse than America, worse than Brussels. It's very bad. We also face a problem of European taxpayer money, German taxpayer money, EU taxpayer money going and funding radical NGOs, anarchist, Marxist NGOs in Israel that do riots in the streets of Israel with billions of euros pouring from Europe, from your taxpayer money as well, because it comes from the European Union, and funding terrorist organization in the Palestinian Authority. I think your hard-earned taxpayer money as Europeans should go to build your schools, your churches, your health system, etc., and not Palestinian terrorist organization or Israeli radical anarchists. So I'm very hopeful it will change, and I'm very hopeful that strong leaders that represent the will of their people, like my father, like Prime Minister Orban, and like President Trump, will change this and will save Western civilization from this double threat of red-green alliance.
Well, yeah, you are entirely correct. Our Judeo-Christian values, our nations, our civilizations, they are under attack from these woke mobs and from these globalists. Together, I'm confident, and especially as the next generation of leaders in our respective entities, we're going to fight back, and we're going to win. There's no other option. We have to win. You have Prime Minister Orban and Hungarian leaders here today that have reminded us that borders matter, cultures matter, and sovereignty matters. The West will endure, but only if all of us are bold enough to defend it. Let us all work together to fight, and to fight. May God bless Hungary, may God bless Israel, and may God bless the United States of America. Yair Netanyahu, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.